I'm Rachel here with Ari, and we're your hosts for the My Writer podcast. This week we're on episode 296, and we're asking, do you need Write or Die to get you writing? Before we start, if you enjoy the show, consider checking out our coffee page. You can follow the page for free as we have plenty of goodies for all. And if you're feeling generous, a one-off donation will get you access to more treats, or you can become a Merry Writer for just $2 a month. And for that, you'll get access to all the items in our shop, including exclusive goodies as well as access to monthly bonuses, and it all helps to support the show. But of course, if that's not your style and you still enjoy the podcast, then please subscribe wherever you're listening if you're not already, and consider dropping us a like if you're watching on YouTube. All right, so what is Write or Die? This is another one of those silly writing challenges that Ari and I decided to do. And Write or Die is a writing tool on the internet to help keep you focused and keep writing without distractions, or else there will be consequences. And those consequences being your work getting deleted. So fun stuff. And I first heard of this many, many years ago. I think my sister found it. And I used it once or twice, realized it wasn't for me, and now here we are trying it again. But it's different now, but we'll get to that later. Why could using Write or Die be beneficial? I don't know. To help you write distraction free, I am genuinely the wrong person to be talking about this because I was that kid in school that had extra time on tests because the clock stressed me out and I'd freeze. And luckily, Write or Die does have two writing options. There's timed or a word count. However, the way it works is that you need to write for X amount of time or write X amount of words without pausing, or else the program will delete your work. And I timed the countdown so that like if you stop typing for a certain amount of time, there's a separate clock that starts ticking down or like a progress bar that ticks down. And I timed that countdown and that only lasts 16 seconds before it deletes everything. So it's really not long at all.
Yeah, that's kind of that's really fast because it's like 16 seconds. I can imagine they would go really, really quickly if you're right in the middle of something trying to think of a word or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad you timed it because I did not think to do that.
Well, because then there was an option to adjust the that countdown. It was set to 1. So I put it up to 5, thinking that, oh, maybe this is easier. No, no. 1, the 16 seconds, that's the longest that it gives you. When jumped it up to 5, I didn't time that one, but I'm pretty sure that ticked down in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, no, I think it would work for people who have that kind of like mad panic, but a productive panic. So I said there's the freeze where it's like you're overwhelmed and you just can't carry on. And then there's the I can work tightly to a deadline. Oh my God, yes. And you need that someone breathing down your neck almost. So yeah, I definitely think it's definitely not for everybody because not everyone would cope well with a ticking clock like that.
And it doesn't take there. I mean, there's no sound. There is a beating heart, which I know Ari will talk about in a few minutes, but I'll go first and talk about my experience, even though you guys can probably already guess. I first tried the timed, and I was really confused because it's set in seconds. So I set the timer to 10, assuming it was minutes, and it was not. It was 10 seconds. So I guess I won that round, if you will. But then I set it for 120 seconds, which is only 2 minutes, and that was fine. I wrote a little bit, but to be honest, I just didn't want to stress myself out by only having 16 seconds of thinking in between sentences. And I also know that because it deletes your work, I just I didn't want to write too much. So it kind of deterred me from actually working. But then I tried the word experience and I set it to 100 words because, again, I didn't want to be bothered to do it. And I had to leave a sticky note for myself to remind myself to use Write or Die. And I probably gave it maybe like 20 minutes. And then I was like, this is good enough for an episode. But yeah, I was just too afraid to get my work deleted. So I just didn't, I just didn't. The 16 seconds do start over whenever you are typing. So that helps a little bit, but still nope. Seeing the little progress bar like go up and down as you type was distracting to me. And knowing that 16 C mode and you can make it faster if you want. I don't know who would want to do that, but I didn't. So I just left it at that because there's also a blind mode and a don't look back mode. And I have no idea what those are. I didn't bother trying those because I just washed my hands of it and I said, too bad, so sad, I'm all done.
I think the fact that you have to work out your minutes in seconds was already what put me off. It's like, I'm not doing math. Now, I'm assuming the whole point is to do a little like mini sprint. I don't think Write or Die is designed for like 3 hours of writing. No, not even like 20 minutes. I can't imagine you're sitting for 20 minutes writing. I think it's meant to just do, maybe it's one of those where, if you're struggling to sort of sit down and start, it might be a good like inertia buster to get you through that, maybe. But yeah, I'm not sitting here working out how many seconds in the minutes I want to do there are. I'm just not. Okay, so when I tried it the first time, I wanted to see how long it took to delete. Now, I didn't think to time it like Rachel did. I just sort of sat and stared at it, and it never deleted. So I was like, oh, I must have done something wrong. So I refreshed it a few times, and I think I actually came out, went back in, and it did start working.
I did the same thing. There's a play button and a pause button. So
Oh,
I
I
guess
didn't
if
see
you
the
really,
play button.
yeah, yeah, there's because I did that at once too. I hit the timer and then I was writing and then I paused purposely to let the thing go down and nothing happened. Nothing got deleted. And then I noticed there's a play button. So you can set the time that you want to go or the word count, whatever, and then you have to hit play and then the timer will tick down. And there is also a pause button. So I guess if you really wanted to cheat it, if you needed to pause in your writing to think of a word or whatever, you could just hit the pause button manually. And then, so I guess it kind of, if you want to cheat it, but then that kind of defeats the purpose of using write or die.
I'm thinking when I pressed the play button, it must have been when my mouse was being weird and it didn't play. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's playing. And I didn't really dawn on me that I hadn't actually clicked it. So all that refreshing was probably not necessary. So there you go. They don't have the best instructions, I'm going to say it. Now, I did like the little tiny beating heart. I thought it was really cute, but I actually did find it distracting because I kind of kept glancing at it because little things like that catch my attention. And it was cute, even though it's like an even though it's an anatomical heart, it's not like a cute little love heart, it's a human anatomical heart. But I did like that. The red screen is a little overwhelming. It's not like a mute red, it's not like a dark red or a pale. It's this bright blood red, probably bright blood red, and it's really sharp. And honestly, I assume it adds to the panic because colors have that kind of effect on people. And bright red is a little bit like warning, panic, warning. And honestly, I didn't like that at all. However, I did try the don't look back. I had no idea what it was. I did not fully read the instructions. Um, right up until I made a mistake when my typing. And if you're anything like me, you instinctively hit, delete so you can delete it and retype it. But nope, that's what don't look back means. It means you fucked up too bad. And it just leaves all your errors there. And I was stressed at how many errors I was making. And I think because I couldn't go and fix them, it made me more stressed. So I was making more errors. And honestly, it was just horrible to read because it was just simple things where you just mix your letters round or you missed the space before the period or something after the period, and it was just what a mess. So yeah, don't do that one. That is terrible. Blind mode is what you would probably expect. No text showed up while you're writing, which means you can fix those errors if you know you made them in the first place and you can remember how many delete spaces you need and which part to do because you can't see anything. However, I couldn't get it to show up at the end. I'm not sure how that worked, which then makes me think, was I even typing anything or was it just doing its own thing? But yeah, nothing seemed to, once I finished and was like that, no. So I could have actually been just doing it wrong and maybe blind mode wasn't like that, but yeah.
Well, I'm glad you tried those other modes, since I couldn't be bothered to do that. But the don't look back would drive me nuts. And the funny thing is, if I had tried it, I would have thought something was wrong with my keyboard. It wouldn't have, I probably would not have thought that it was the program saying, no, 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 just write, don't edit. But the blind mode, yeah, that's weird. I mean, if you really wanted to try that, you could just go on whatever program you use to write, Word, Scrivener, whatever, and just set the font, the color to white or whatever, and you could give
Exactly.
that a
And that would be
go.
better.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I appreciate Write or Die for what it is. I think it is a cool program, and I think it does definitely work for some people, but it's really changed over the years. And we'll leave a link to Write or Die in the description. And I'll also maybe flash it up on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. Because when I had first heard of it, it was writeordie.com. It is not that anymore. Do not go to that website. It doesn't exist. It's something else now. But when I first had it, it wasn't that red background. It was just a simple black and white. And you would type for, I think, a word count or a time amount. And if you paused for too long, it would slowly delete your work, like letter by letter. And the longer you paused, it would get faster. So it would start to delete word by word, going backwards, of course. It wouldn't start at the beginning, it would go backwards. And this time I wrote a couple of sentences and then I purposely paused just to see how it would delete my work. And it just vanished like that. And I was like, oh, it wasn't kidding when it said that all of your work would get deleted. So I guess if you want to take that risk, or if you want to like pause every few seconds and like control A and then control C so that you can highlight all of your work and then copy it all just in case. But I don't know. I think that that pressure is just too much for me. And I don't think it's fair for it to delete absolutely everything all at once if you don't work for 16 seconds.
What you said about the idea that it would delete letter by letter going backwards and then eventually word by word, that actually sounds quite cool because it sort of kicks you into, uh-oh, better carry on. And then hopefully you can remember what you wrote and carry on from there. But to literally take everything straight away, yeah, that's worse. Why on earth would they change it to that? That's not good.
Yeah, I don't know. Because when they did start taking it away letter by letter, it really like gave you an adrenaline boost and you're like, "Oh shoot, I gotta bring that word back and I gotta fix it." And then from there you would just write the next word and the next and it worked. It still didn't do anything for me. It still didn't work out for me, but I preferred that version over what it is now.
Yeah, I think I'd have enjoyed the one you had from earlier. That sounds a much better one. I still don't think I would have been like, yeah, this is the best. I do think it's kind of a fun and silly program, especially if you're with friends. I can kind of see it as I can even see people doing it with a silly game or like, racing each other or something and seeing how much you can get done. I definitely do not see it personally as a tool to use for real writing. You know, I don't. Also, again, this might be something that went wrong on my end, but the save function didn't work for me at all. Whenever I clicked it, nothing came up, nothing downloaded. There was just nothing. So I don't know what that meant. I wasn't sure if it was something you like once you'd written everything, you could save and like export it, or whether you could stop it and then copy it or something. But the save did nothing. I'll be honest. And second, I didn't trust that it wouldn't mess up and lose things even if I kept typing. I think it's probably because it's like a free program. I didn't feel like, yeah, if I wrote a load and I hit the targets and everything, would it be okay or would it like gone? And I definitely was not going to import anything. There was an import button, which I assume means you can import some like a Word document. So maybe if you've got part of it written, you do the rest. No. Again, it's a free program, which is really good. It's always nice that people do that. But I don't know what its security features are. I don't know what it's doing to keep your work protected or private. So yeah, I see it more as a silly little plaything that you can play on and do maybe a little sprints or anything, just a way of getting past the inertia. Maybe a silly game to play with your friends, not for anything serious, not for anything private or for anything, you know, like your actual working novel, maybe. No, that is my personal thought. But yeah, hey, if you've never tried it, I do recommend trying it just for the weirdness of it and to see how you feel and to watch the little heartbeat, which is kind of cute.
I do agree with Ari. If this sounds intriguing to you, definitely give it a shot because it can be a cool, useful tool for people that do need that little extra kick in the butt. I will say it is smooth. It actually does the job. Once you figure out how to actually use the buttons and stuff, it does work. I know Ari said that, the blind mode didn't seem to work for her, and the save function didn't work for you at all. So I don't know, maybe there's still some bugs in it. But yeah, I think overall, I would say Write or Die is not for us. That doesn't mean it's a bad program. It was fun to play around with, though I do like the previous version than what it is now. But if you want to give it a try, like I said, I will leave a link in the description below and flash it up on YouTube again so that you can give it a go. So with that said, we'll turn it over to you guys. Have you ever used Write or Die before, and did it help or hinder you? Let us know your answers in the comments so we can chat. Before we leave, if you want to learn more about us, the podcast, and opportunities to be a guest on the show, don't forget to check out our website at themerrywriterpodcast.podbean.com. Remember, we release a new episode every Wednesday. Next week, we're interviewing a special guest. So to ensure you don't miss it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on your way out. As always, thanks for listening to the Merry Writer Podcast. See you next week. This podcast is brought to you by Color Coded Notes. It helps us feel productive. The music titled Inspired is by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under Creative Commons 4.0.